He's too little. He's too little. I'm going to get him.
Makachev is so good. He's so good that he head kicked Alexander Volkanovski in the rematch. He submits everybody. He submitted Dustin Poirier. He's a monster. When he gets guys on the ground, he just crushes them.
The advice, like, he has to work the straight body shots, because that takes away the intentions of the takedown. If he works with the straight body shots,
I think I can take him out. I think. But Bilal really just changes stances a lot, walks forward. But I think if I can have someone that just stays in the same stance, and I don't think, but Islam's the very good striker. I think I could land a lot of shots, and I think I could take him out.
Wow.
Stuff the takedowns. If I get taken down, I believe I can get back to my feet.
Jack Della Maddalena has given a chilling warning to Islam Makachev ahead of their potential title fight. JDM believes Islam is a short guy and he will finish him easily. In a recent interview, Jack Della Maddalena said that Islam Makachev is too little for him. Jack is full of confidence and promises to show his power if they meet. He believes Islam can't handle his size and strength and made it clear he's ready to go after him without any fear.
The lightweight champion Islam Makachev. Talk me through about that particular matchup and what you think and how excited you are to prove yourself yet again.
Yeah, it's the dream first title defense, pound for pound #1. Get him back for Volk. We saw what Volk did to him. I'm gonna get him. He's too little. He's too little. I'm gonna get him.
On the other hand, Alexander Volkanovski broke down the matchup between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makachev, saying Jack's fight with Belal Muhammad was ideal preparation. He believes stopping Belal's takedowns boosted Jack's confidence and showed his defense is now on another level. Volk thinks even top grapplers will struggle to take Jack down or keep him there.
Islam Makachev is going to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Belal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, there's every fighter still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. You know, I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, like, you know, worried about, you know, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, like, I guarantee you if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. You know, only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
Jorge Masvidal also shared his thoughts and leans toward Islam Makachev against Jack Della Maddalena. He praised Jack's striking and takedown defense against Belal, but thinks Islam's wrestling is on another level. Jorge said Jack has better hands early, but Islam's pressure and grappling will take over as the fight goes on.
I've seen Islam, bro. He's a big guy. He's got a lot of weight to get to 55. I think he might start doing better at 70. Problem is though, Jack is special. We're gonna see just how special he is if he beats Islam Jack, #1 pound for, wow, that's impressive, you know. I'm leaning towards Islam, brother.
Oh, really?
You know, but I really think it's gonna be a tough fight for him, but a great fight, man.
Jack was able to defend takedown attempts by Belal.
Belal has the best cardio in MMA, but Belal doesn't have Islam's technique. Not same technique, not same. Very good, very aggressive. Belal never stops a dog. Attack. But Islam is like smart, man. Boom. You know, Islam's level of wrestling is above. His stand-up game is improving. I don't think he could go stand-up in the beginning with Jack. Jack has way better hands, way better range, faster, stronger. But as the rounds go on later and later, he could do.
Meanwhile, Joe Rogan described Islam Makachev as a huge, powerful guy who surprises him every time he sees him make 155 pounds. Rogan noted Islam's thick build, massive back, and insane strength when he grabs opponents, saying his squeeze and leverage feel overwhelming.
When I interview him in the cage afterwards, I'm always like, how?
Really?
How are you 155?
Yeah.
How?
I know.
How?
I know.
He's thick as he's got a giant back.
Yeah.
And when he gets a hold of guys, it's like he's just got this leverage, this grappling squeeze that it's. I remember when he fought Drew Dober, and like when he got Dober down to the ground, I was like, that's a wrap.
Joe Rogan praised how much Islam Makachev's striking has evolved, saying it's now a serious weapon and not just an add-on to his wrestling. He pointed to Islam's head kick finish against Volkanovski as a perfect example of his growth and fighting IQ. Rogan also shared that he wouldn't have advised Volk to take that fight on such short notice, no matter how tough or confident he felt, because Islam is too sharp and dangerous to face unprepared.
He's a threat everywhere. Like when he knocked out Volk with that high kick.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Crazy. But granted, if I was in Volk's corner, I would say, no,
I know.
You're not taking it. You've been drinking beer and eating kebabs. Like, there's no way you're taking this fight on 10 days notice. I don't care how confident you are. I don't care how much you like fighting. That's a crazy thing. I don't care how much money they're paying you, because you look at the slide that his career took, right? He arguably won that first fight with Islam. Very close fight, loses a decision. Or was it a draw?
It was a decision. Shit, was it a draw? That's actually a good question.
On the other hand, Ilia Topuria was also recently asked about the Islam Makachev versus Jack Della Maddalena fight and how he sees Islam performing at welterweight. However, Ilia made it clear he doesn't care at all. He said that fighting doesn't interest him in the slightest and isn't something he even thinks about.
How do you think Islam Makachev will do at 170 when he fights Jack Della Maddalena?
I don't know. I don't care, to be honest. I never thought about that, so I don't know.
Ilia Topuria offered some sharp advice for Jack Della Maddalena on how to handle Islam Makachev. He suggested that Jack target Islam's body with straight shots to weaken his takedown attempts and keep him from shooting. Ilia emphasized that strong body work can disrupt a wrestler's game plan. He also complimented Jack's striking style, saying he enjoys watching him fight and believes this approach could give Jack a real shot.
Have any advice for Jack, who might be coming up against Islam Makachev next?
The advice, like, he has to work the straight body shots, because that takes away the intentions of the takedown. If he works with the straight body shots, he's gonna stop his intentions of the takedowns. And he's doing a great job at the striking. I like how he fights.
Moreover, Philip Rowe also believes Jack Della Maddalena would beat Islam Makachev. He explained that Islam isn't big enough for welterweight and thinks JDM would get up from takedowns and overwhelm Islam with his power. Rowe predicts JDM would eventually stop him.
Philip Rowe, what's cracking, man?
Chillin'.
Hey, now listen, you're welterweight, you've been in the game a long time. Islam moving up to 170. Is he big enough for 170?
My personal opinion, I don't think he is, but he's a champ. We'll see when he's there. You know what I'm saying? He has a fight. He's fighting the champ. That's the best 170 in the world right now, right? So we'll see.
So you don't think he has the size, but how do you think he does in a fight versus JDM?
I personally think JDM beats him. I think JDM will be able to get up if he does take him down. I don't think he'll be able to take JDM shots. I think personally he'll stop at Islam.
Dustin Poirier offered his take on how a fight between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makachev might play out. He thinks the outcome hinges on the early rounds. If Islam manages to get Jack down, he sees Islam winning, but if Jack can stop the takedowns, Dustin believes Jack's sharp boxing and physicality could give Islam big trouble. He also noted that while Islam's striking can look awkward, it works because opponents are always worried about the takedown threat, which stops them from fully committing to their own attacks.
Do you think he beats Jack Della Maddalena?
I think we'll find out first, second round how much trouble he has getting him down. I think if he gets those takedowns, he's gonna get the win. If Jack can stop those takedowns, which he does have good takedown defense, I think the boxing and the size could wear on Islam and give him some problems. But his striking's, awkward and different. You have to worry so much about the takedown. You can't plant your feet and throw off those number combinations and really rip and sit on your punches, because he's going to change levels. So it changes the way you fight. Well, for me, it did. I'm speaking from experience. So we'll see how Jack approaches and how Jack executes out there. But if you're worried about takedowns, your shots are different. You're not sitting on everything and standing in front of the guy. You're trying to move and be light on your feet. I think the first 2 rounds will tell us how this fight's gonna go.
Meanwhile, Daniel Cormier described Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makachev as a high-stakes exciting fight. He praised Jack's recent form and pointed out that Islam hasn't been tested at welterweight yet. Cormier questioned whether Islam could handle Jack's natural size and if he'd have enough time to adjust physically for the jump in weight.
to 170.
Daniel Cormier highlighted that the real excitement behind a possible Islam Makachev versus Jack Della Maddalena fight comes from the story rather than just the techniques. Jack just became the welterweight champion by beating Belal Muhammad, while Islam is a dominant lightweight champion looking to move up. Cormier said this clash of journeys and the tension around it make the matchup truly special and a must-see for fans.
Lot of questions, pound champion.
Charles Oliveira also described Jack Della Maddalena as dangerous because he doesn't rush finishes but chips away at opponents methodically, as shown in his fight with Belal Muhammad. At the same time, Oliveira expects Islam Makachev to do well at welterweight, noting that he'll be stronger and can rely heavily on his grappling. He believes the fight hinges on whether Jack can keep the fight standing or if Islam imposes his ground game.
O que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
Madalena, ele é um jogo muito complicado, porque ele é um cara que ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem pra te finalizar, ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. Foi o que ele fez agora na luta contra o Bilal. Só que eu acho que o Islam vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, tipo, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta, mas se deixar o Islam agarrar e botar pra baixo é o time.
However, Robert Whittaker admitted it's tough to predict how Islam Makachev will look at welterweight since moving up always brings unknowns. He pointed out that both the physical and tactical challenges change in a new division. Despite this, Whittaker said he fully trusts Islam's skills and believes he can do everything Belal Muhammad does, only better.
But like I said, it is hard to try to get like an accurate gauge on what it's going to look like, not knowing how Islam is going to look when he moves up. Okay, it's always the question everybody asks when anybody is moving up a weight division or down a weight division, okay? There's so many unknowns involved. But saying that, I think that Islam can do everything that Belal does, but way better. Okay, way better.
Gilbert Burns shared support for Islam Makachev's move to welterweight and said 170 pounds suits him better, especially considering his tough weight cuts at lightweight. While Burns praised Islam as the top pound-for-pound fighter, he warned that facing Jack Della Maddalena could be tighter than people think. He pointed out Jack's training with stars like Alexander Volkanovski and Craig Jones, which makes him even more dangerous. Though he hasn't fully analyzed the fight yet, Burns expects a very competitive showdown.
Islam is working very hard. He's been saying vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he will not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know, but probably that was in the negotiation. Yeah, I like him moving up. I've proven himself. He's #1 pound for pound right now. It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think, especially with Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of back the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're gonna have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much in that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think. And JDM has a clear shot on beating.
Furthermore, Javier Mendez also discussed a possible fight between Islam Makachev and Jack Della Maddalena, admitting it's tough to say if Jack would be the toughest test yet. However, he stressed that Islam wants the fight and is completely prepared. Mendez praised Islam's elite skills and dedication, saying he's on another level compared to anyone Jack has faced. He also believes welterweight suits Islam's frame perfectly, expecting him to be a strong, imposing force in the new division.
You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say if he's a harder challenge. You know, I just know Islam wants this one. So for me, that's the challenge I want, you know, and it's the challenge that I know Islam's going to be, you know, supreme over, because I just know his skill set. I know what he brings to the table, and he brings an incredible work ethic along with skill set in every area. So, you know, Islam's a whole different animal than the Jack's ever been involved with. So if that fight does materialize, you know, we're going to see a hell of a fight, and you're going to see Islam perform at an absolute incredible level. And also, you know, the weight is not super big for him either. So he's going to be a fairly decent welterweight. So Islam won't be a small guy. He'll be a decent welterweight if that fight materializes.
Javier Mendez made it clear that Jack Della Maddalena won't be taken lightly. He called it foolish to underestimate Jack, especially after seeing his hard-fought win over Belal Muhammad. Mendez praised Belal's toughness and noted how both absorbed big shots. He emphasized that their team, including Khabib and other coaches, understands the danger Jack poses and is preparing carefully.
Coaches think Jack is easier. We're stupid. We are very stupid. Then we didn't watch the Belal fight, because Belal can take a hell of a shot. He can take a hell of a shot, and he took him. And he gave him two. Belal gave him two. So it was a war. That fight was a war. And you know what? For us to think it's an easy fight for us, you know, what kind of idiot coaches are we? Habib's not an idiot, and neither am I. And neither is Magomed, neither is Saif Safula, and Muhammad, the other coaches that they work with Islam. We're not stupid.
Javier Mendez pointed out that Jack Della Maddalena is a serious threat because of his size and versatile striking arsenal. He noted Jack can attack with powerful kicks and punches in ways that keep opponents guessing. While he called Ilia Topuria the sharper boxer, he praised Jack's overall striking game as more complete. Mendez stressed that Islam Makachev would need flawless preparation to handle this challenge, emphasizing it's a fight with no room for error.
Dealing with a much bigger guy and just as dangerous, if not more dangerous in different variations. Not boxing, because I think Topuria's got the best boxing in the business. I still believe that, but Jack is well versed in the kicking and the arsenal, how he mixes it up. He's really good at head and body, leg, everything. He's really, really good at that. So we have our hands cut out for us. It's not an easy fight at all. If Islam, by some miracle of a chance, makes that fight to be like slam dunk, it's because we were properly prepared, or Jack wasn't as prepared, or Jack was injured, or Jack just got caught. But it's gonna be one of those fights. It's not easy. No way in hell is that fight gonna be easy. Very tough fight.
Meanwhile, Navajo Sterling predicted Jack Della Maddalena would dominate Islam Makachev in his first welterweight title defense. He felt Jack's size and power would overwhelm Islam, limiting his wrestling effectiveness. Sterling also noted that if Jack wins, the excitement around a possible Islam versus Topuria fight would fade fast. In his eyes, Islam was in for a rough night.
You picked JDM to win. Now he's got a big challenge in his first title defense against Islam. Do you think he's got what it takes to beat an Islam Makachev in his first defense?
People are going to say it's a wild take, but I reckon JDM smokes Islam. Shins him so bad. It's going to be so bad that the Topuria Islam thing will just be gone.
Do you think Islam's wrestling won't be a threat to JDM just because he's a lot bigger?
He's a lot bigger, and like when you watch JDM, like you put him on the end of mid-range, he's just going to throw. That's hard to like shoot in on. He's not going to be able to just abuse his size against him either. I think Islam's in for a rude awakening.
However, Dan Hardy called the matchup between Islam Makachev and Jack Della Maddalena one of the most exciting super fights today, just behind Jones versus Aspinall. He's thrilled to see Islam test himself at welterweight, but questioned if the UFC will let him keep the lightweight belt, given their push against double champions recently.
I thought he was very, very impressive. You know, it would be awesome to see Makachev move up and fight him. You know, I did see that Makachev said he's not gonna relinquish his lightweight belt. So I don't know how that's gonna fly with the UFC, because I think they're putting a stop on double champs now, aren't they? But it would be a fight I would love to see. You know, that's probably one of the best super fights you could make right now, aside from, you know, obviously John Jones against Tom Aspinall, which is the blockbuster.
Dan Hardy expressed doubt that Islam Makachev could beat Jack Della Maddalena at welterweight. While he praised Islam's dominance at lightweight, he questioned whether that success would translate up a division, and also wondered how long Jack could keep the belt.
I think Della Maddalena's got a bright future. I don't know whether he's going to hold the belt, or, you know, he's going to lose it to another one of the top contenders and then pick it back up again. I don't think he's going to lose it to Makachev, though. I think Makachev holds the lightweight belt against anybody in the world, you know, on any day, you know, including Ilia Topuria. I don't think if he moved up, he would have much success against Makachev.
Ian Gary also called the fight between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makachev tough to predict. He praised Islam's all-around game, but said moving up 15 pounds might change things. Gary noted Jack's size advantage and strong boxing, plus his takedown defense, as big factors. Still, he sees Islam as the favorite because of his elite skills.
Who do you think wins, Jack or Islam?
It's such a tough one to talk about. Islam is phenomenal. He's good everywhere. Size matters. When you're talking about an extra extra 15 pounds. When you look at the size of Volkanovski versus Jack Della Maddalena, there's a big size discrepancy. And Volk gave him a good fight. And then Dustin Poirier, it wasn't absolutely completely dominant by Islam. It was a tough fight. Size is going to play a huge part. Even on the ground, I feel like Jack could get it done with just some clean boxing and good takedown defense. But I can absolutely see Islam coming in and doing what Islam does and going out there and just looks like the phenomenal mixed martial artist he is.
So, this is all we have from today's video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Share your thoughts and predictions about this fight in the comment section, and subscribe to our channel to get more updates about this highly anticipated encounter.